My name is Al Johnson, a member of the Election Committee. Thank you for joining me to meet the Board of Directors candidates in this upcoming election up close and personal. There are 4 candidates for 2 open positions, each a 3-year term. Each candidate will be given a few minutes to introduce themselves and then 2 minutes to answer this question. What do you believe is the most important issue facing our community in the next 3 years? And what ideas do you have to address it? The candidates will be introduced in reverse alpha order. John Wilson, Darwin Thornton, Tim Kelly, and Janice Fisher. John Wilson. John, last time I met you, you were nursing a wrap around your wrist, and you told me that you like to play tennis. Well, this weather certainly is not tennis-type weather, and maybe based upon your little accident, that's not a bad idea. So, tell me, how did that wrist get injured on the tennis court?
My feet didn't go where they were supposed to, and they got kind of tangled up, and I made a mistake of trying to catch myself with the hand, and I guess you don't want to do that.
Okay, John, this is a chance for our community to get to know you up close and personal. Tell us about yourself, who you are, what your background is, how you got to Sun City.
Okay. Well, my wife Sandy and I have our permanent home in East Lansing, Michigan, and we've been enjoying the winter months here in Sun City, Oro Valley. How'd we get here? Well, our oldest son graduated from Michigan State in 1992, and his first job was in the Phoenix area. So we came to visit him, and that was our introduction to Arizona, and we thought that was pretty nice. Then, as luck would have it, my sister and her husband moved here to what was then called Sun City Vistoso, and we came to visit them, and that was how we discovered what's now SCOV, and it was love at first sight. So we came for short visits with them for a few years, and then when I retired in 2004, we rented a place here for 2 months, and we had every intention of just doing that, just renting for a couple of winter months, but we loved our rental home in Ember Ridge, and shortly before the rental period was up, one like it came on the market, so we did some rethinking, bought it, and now we're in our 13th year as homeowners here in Sun City. I've told the folks more about myself in a flyer that's included in the tipster. I don't think I need to rehash all that now, but briefly, I was a professor of biochemistry at Michigan State University from 1967 until retirement in 2004. I served 10 years as president of Timber Ridge Condominium Association at our home in Michigan. I served 2 terms on the board of directors for the Ember Ridge Homeowners Association here in SCOV. I've been active in the tennis club, the racquetball club, and until recently the Sundancer Square Dance Club, and I've served on the boards of each of those organizations. I've been asked, why am I running? And the short answer for that is because some people who have been involved here in SCOV asked me to consider it. They thought I'd do a good job in that role, and I hope I get the chance to prove them right. I thought over their suggestion and decided it was an opportunity to serve the community. So here I am in a race. I don't have any particular issue that I'm pushing. I think SCOV is a well-run, well-maintained community, has lots of talented residents who participate in the various activities and clubs and committees that make this a wonderful community. If I was elected, I would hope to contribute constructively to the decisions that concerning the operation and future prospects of this community. And if people think I'm up for the job, I'd appreciate their support. And thanks for their consideration.
John, the one question that all four candidates will get is if you were to select one issue that you would like to deal with during the next 3 years, what would that be? And how would you address it?
Well, I was thinking about conversations I've had with lots of people over the years we've been coming here, and there have been a few things that seem to be more recurring than others, but one of the biggest things seems to me like the is always associated with renovations or additions to something. I think many of us remember the protracted and sometimes heated debate about the AFC some years ago. Ultimately, that worked out to be great. I think with the voted approval of a majority of the residents, we got what I think is, most people would agree, is a really great addition to the community now. My understanding is the next on the drawing boards are renovations here in the activity center and at Desert Oasis. I think it's important to have community input into those decisions. I think probably the most extensive renovations and probably the biggest concern to the community will be here in the activity center. The committee has already taken the right step in that direction by securing input with the online survey that we all received recently. I would hope that the committee would provide regular updates on their planning progress, perhaps by adding on to the weekly manager's report that everybody gets if they want to. And also perhaps with some displays of proposed designs, etc., in the activity center or, as appropriate, in the Desert Oasis.
John, thank you, and be careful. Next time you go out on the tennis court,
That's right.
keep your feet and the body
I
together.
should take up cards, I guess.
Okay, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Darwin Thornton. Darwin, Sun City. I think most of us would agree that this is indeed a great place to live. So share with us how you got here and a little bit about yourself.
My wife and I came down for a vacation 8.5 years ago, and we settled in at Sun City with a broad, expansive idea that this is the place with all the sun. We come from a Seattle weather pattern, and it wasn't that good. So we chose to come to the sun, and Sun City was our final destination, and we are enjoying it so much.
Tell us about what you were in your other life and chance to brag a little bit.
My other life in Seattle was, and both of us come from Seattle, and we're long time residents and lived and worked there. I was in the tow truck industry. That industry in and of itself is a service industry. We're made to help people every day in and day out. And I guess it has kind of infected itself into my life because I like to help people. And that is one of the reasons why I opted to run for the board, amongst other things, is to help people. And so that is my decision. It was made with careful deliberation between my wife and I, and I think that we've come with a conclusion that Sun City itself is run very well. It is a positive place to live, and we really enjoy it.
Now the question that narrows things down. What would you like to accomplish in the next 3 years? One thing that you have a passion for our community, and ideas to deal with that passion.
The one issue before the board, as I see it, is to listen. We have to listen, discuss, and then act. You know, the 4,000 residents of Sun City have entrusted in the board a governance of responsibility, a time of integrity. The board has made some mistakes in the past, and they've learned from that. Going back 3 or 4 years ago, in the aquatic and fitness center deliberations and designs, some mistakes were made there. And the first plans were discarded. But a new combined committee was formed, and the results are phenomenal. Right now, hundreds of residents are at the AFC on a weekly basis. The board listened, it discussed, and then acted. More than 2 years ago, there was talk of the restaurant and pro shop. The committees were formed, forums were held, your voices were heard, and of course, the board listened, discussed, and then it acted. It issued work orders to start the process on that. Again, in my opinion, the results are exemplary. Many of us now attend a restaurant and the lounge more than once a week, and it's just evidence in the way that the residents are looking at this amenity that we have there. More and more golfers from the public sector are staying after and having a drink at our 19th hole. And more, the word is getting out about the Views Golf Course and the restaurant. In the formulation stages are the upgrading of the Desert Oasis Rec Center and upgrading of this activity center. The board will listen, discuss, and then act. So if I'm elected, I would urge the board to copy the examples of previous boards. Use their experiences. The projects that they have completed are tantamount to wanting to repeat them. And look at our latest project, the solar array. We're just now receiving financial savings on our bottom line. These are the things that are important to the residents, the potential residents that are walking on our tours and everything around our community, and they see these things being done, and you can tell that they are interested in staying and being a part of Sun City in the future. And of course, these projects will show that we're not going to let our retirement slow us down in any way. I'm happy to say that the board does need our help, though. It needs everybody's help. The volunteerism within this community is great. But whenever you see a new project being developed or you hear about it, I just urge you citizens to go ahead and step up and volunteer. And that way we can continue making this community exactly what it is.
Tim Kelly. Tim, the weather has not been good for golfers during this month of January. And I understand that you are one of those people that like to chase that little white ball around the course. How's the golf game?
The golf game has been good. Not frequent enough, but good. I've been playing golf for 66 years. Is that right? Something like that.
Give or take a few.
Give or take a few. But today was a little tough, a little breezy out, but golf game's good.
Okay, this is the time to not pull any skeletons out of the closet, but to tell us about yourself and even brag a little bit. Who are you and how did you get here?
We came here in 2009. It was our first year of a 4-year plan to travel around the Southwest and find out where we were going to retire. And we were renting a home in Sun City, and after 2 weeks, we decided to buy. And 2 weeks later, we had. So that's kind of how we got here. I am educated as an electrical engineer. Besides engineering design, I have worked in project management and quality assurance capacities, business development, marketing, and all of those types of things in my engineering career. And late in my career, I negotiated fuel contracts for power plants and universities, school systems, that type of thing. And I also did a fair amount of expert witness work before regulatory bodies, National Energy Board in Canada and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission in the United States. Joan and I have been married for 22 years. Between hers, mine, and ours, we have 8 children and 16 grandchildren and 14 or 15 great-grandchildren. I say 14 or 15, I'm not sure the last one's been born yet. So that's kind of my background.
Okay, Tim, our question for each of the candidates. What do you believe is probably the most important issue that you will be dealing with in the next 3 years, the term? And what ideas do you have to deal with that issue?
I think the most important issue for Sun City, the association, is to maintain and improve our financial strength. And by financial strength, I mean not only our balance sheet, which is in excellent condition, but to maintain our leadership role in the Southwest retirement communities in terms of our amenities, the activities we have, the very wide breadth of clubs. To maintain that, one of the major projects that we're begun the planning process for at this juncture is the rehabilitation, remodeling of the activity center. Here, the auditorium, the meeting rooms, that type of thing. If we are to maintain our leadership position and thus our individual property values, it is very important that we are good stewards to our amenities and to our facilities, and that we just maintain that long-term leadership role.
Thank you, Tim. And you were out on the course this morning.
I was.
Are you planning to go out again this afternoon?
No.
You've had it with the wind today.
I've had it with the wind.
Thank you, Tim. Jan Fisher. For those of you who know you, Jan, they know that you're not a newcomer to our community, that you've been around here almost from the beginnings, and you're called a trailblazer. How did it happen that you were one of the first on the scene? And then tell us about yourself.
Well, we moved to Sun City in 1988. I've been in on the project since the dirt was bought in '85 and have been here ever since. I love Sun City. It's my home, and I'm almost a native Arizonan. So as a homeowner and longtime resident of SCOV, I have a stake in the safety and upkeep of our amenities with the view to preserving the value of my home and those of my fellow residents.
Jan, the question that I pose to all four of the candidates, what do you believe is probably the most important issue that you will be interested in if elected for the next 3 years, and how would you deal with it?
I believe the most important issue continues to be the maintenance and upkeep of our amenities and our buildings and our common areas in order to attract new members to the community and still satisfy the existing members. As a board member, the major job is to lead in maintaining and enhancing the quality of life as a community of active adults, as stated in our mission statement. When a homeowners association elects board members, they should be elected to represent all of the residents. They should not come to the board with their own agenda or represent the interests of a few. As a previous board member, I listened to the residents regarding their concerns on current issues within our community and attempted to present those concerns to the other board members.
Jan, I'd like to back up just for a minute. Back to the beginning, 1988. What did you find here? What did you see? For those of us who came later, we have difficulty imagining what it looked like here at the start.
Well, in 1988, Oracle Road was a two-lane road. Everything ended at Ina, and it was open desert from Ina all the way up to Sun City Vistoso. I had a friend when we moved in here come help me move while my husband was out of town in the beginning, and she thought we were lost because our office was at Broadway and Wilmot. And we had to come all the way across town, and there was nothing here except Sun City, Oro Valley. The golf course was here, the model homes were still open, and Don and I lived on Alamo Canyon in our second home here, a half block from our original home, from April of 1988.
Amazing. You have seen much. We now have, how many homes do we have now?
2,488.
Jan, 2,488 homes and a population just under 5,000. And you've been a part of it. That's exciting. Thank you, Jan Fisher. You now have met all four candidates for the Board of Directors. You will also have several more opportunities to learn more about each of them before casting your ballot. 2 live forums will be held in the auditorium. The first Thursday, February 16th at 6:30 p.m. and the second on Friday, February 17th at 9 a.m. In addition, each candidate is featured in the February tipster. The voting process this year has been changed to include the choice of casting your ballot electronically as well as by paper ballot. Please mark it on your calendar as a reminder to vote. Your vote really does count.